is now in relation again to module number 2, integration formulas. Formula number 16. This is now the method of integration or integrating by parts. Shown here is our general formula. So for our general formula involving integration by parts, just that we are now asked to integrate a unrelated function. So integration of function u times the differential form of function v, which is now equal with the product of function u times v minus the integral of the integrated form of function v times the differentiated form of function u. This particular method or formula is now used when the function inside the integrand seems like they're not related at all. So for instance, meron kang multinomial or binomial terms, tapos meron siyang kasamang trigonometric function, or a singular formula that is now multiplied to a trigonometric functions. Trigonometric functions with exponential terms, trigonometric functions with logarithmic terms, and so forth and so long. Binomial terms to multinomial terms. Ganun lang. So these are the following terms here. So where u again is our function to be differentiated, and dv is the unrelated term or unrelated function, or simply the functions that should be integrated. And the integral of function v du is simply may be evaluated by using formulas of integrations, such as what we have learned from last meetings. Those are power rule, your logarithmic rule, your exponential functions, trigonometric functions, type 1, 2, 3, and 4, formula 14 and 15, and lastly, the inverse trigonometric functions. So basically, application ng 1 to 15. Pwede natin gamitin dito. As our first example, you are now given 3y. Evaluate the indefinite integral of 3y times y plus 5 raised to 2/3. So this particular integrand, again, they are not supposed to be they are not seem to be related with each other. So you might think later on na pwede nating expand using the given exponent of y plus 5 raised to 2/3. So, but it would take you too long to expand such term raised to a fraction exponent and multiply with that expanded form your term 3y. So, but we have here the method of integration by parts. Again, integration by parts was introduced kanina as the integral of u dv equal to the product of function u times v minus the integral of v du. Ngayon, meron kang nakikitang dalawang function, or kailangan nating maghanap ng dalawang functions. U, ito ang lagi nating i-consider when we are considering function u in this particular method. Consider a function u that if you differentiate it later on, it should has an ending differential form equal to 0. So habang dinidifferentiate mo siya continuously, first differential, second differential, or single differential, double differential form, dapat mag-i-end siya sa 0. So yun yung gagamitin nating function. Then the second one is the dv. So for this part, let us consider the term 3y. So si 3y, if we then differentiate this particular function, is definitely equal now to 3dy. Then differentiate it again, magiging dy, then differentiate it again, magiging 0. Differentiate it again, 0 na pala. Differentiate it again, magiging 0 na siya. Then dv, yung most likely di dapat kasama sa term na yan, dv, which is now your y plus 3 raised to 2/3. So, ang gagawin naman natin with this particular term is, again, remember, TV from our definition is the function which we need to integrate. So, basically, mag-introduce lang tayo ng integral sign, left and right, both sides. Okay? So, if we then introduce that integral sign, again, you're now asked to perform what? To perform your basic knowledge from power formula, logarithm, up to inverse trigonometric functions. So, integral of dv is simply v. Integral of y plus 5 pala yun. Y plus 5 raised to 2/3. Ano yan? Kung u is y plus 5, differential form yan is simply equal to dy. Diba? So, integral niyan, anong gagamitin natin? Simply power. Y plus 5 raised to 2/3 plus 1. Tayo nang mag-add. Raised to 2/3 plus 1. That is 5/3. All over 5/3. V is simply now equal to 3 over 5 times y plus 5 raised to 5/3. Mamaya na yung plus c. Hindi pa natin gagamitin sa part na yan. Now, meron na tayong term na u, du, dv, at saka v. Kompleto na ba yung apat na term for us to evaluate this using integration by parts? Yes, kompleto na. So, from integral of 3y times y plus 5 raised to 2/3, that is now u times v. 3y times v, 3/5 of y plus 5 raised to 5/3. Minus, huwag kakalimutan, laging minus. Maliban na lang kung yung succeeding term is also negative. Kailangan nyo lang i-distribute yung ating function. That is now the integral of v, which is 3/5 of y plus 5 raised to 5/3 dv times du. du is 3 dy. Okay? Distribute lang natin. That is now 9/5 y times y plus 5 raised to 5/3 minus the integral of 3 times 3, 9/5 of y plus 5 raised to 5/3 dy. Okay? Then, simplify further. Ganun pa rin naman dito. 9/5 y times y plus 5 raised to 5/3 minus, labas si constant, anong susunod? Same pa rin from kanina. Power rule.
Formula, sir.
So, y plus 5 raised to 5/3 plus 1, right? 5/3 plus 1 is simply 8/3 over 8/3. And, huwag kakalimutan, is your integration constant. Simplify y times y plus 5 raised to 5/3 minus 8 over 3, 27 over 40 times y plus 5 raised to 8/3 plus c. Dapat mamaya ko pa i-introduce, but there is that short method in solving this type of problems or using integration by parts. So what we need to do is basically, again, identify our function u and identify our function dv. But we'll have to do it in a tabulated form. Now, remember yung sinabi ko kanina, identify function u that will eventually end up 0 by differentiating them or differentiating it continuously. Dapat mag-i-end siya sa 0. So, meron tayong gawa tayo ng simpleng table. u, the function of u, and the function of dv. Okay? So, kanina, we consider function 3y or term 3y. Let us check kung mag-e-end siya sa 0 after continuous differentiation. 3y, differential of 3y, first differential of 3y is 3. Second differential of 3y, second differential of 3y is 0 or differential of 3 is simply 0. Our dv kanina is simply y plus 5 raised to 2/3. This time, ito yung ating differential. Again, ito yung ating integral term or a term to be integrated. So, integration of y plus 5 raised to 2/3 is basically, again, 3/5 of y plus 5 raised to 2/3. Raised to 5/3. Then, integrate it again. That is now 3/5 times y plus 5 raised to 8/3 all over 8/3. That is 9 over 40 times y plus 5 raised to 8/3. This time, i-add na natin dyan si constant. Ngayon, bakit ka mag-e-end dyan? Ngayon, mag-e-end na tayo dyan. Nag-end tayo basically doon sa point where function u is ended at 0. Kung saan siya na after continuous differentiation of function u sa 0. So always end when the differential form of function u is equal to 0. So, tapat-tapat na yan. Ngayon, basically, is multiply the first term, this one, to the second term of dv. Multiply, that is supposed to be positive. Then multiply the second term to the last term at which function u ended up equal to 0. Then subtract it from the first term. Ayan. So, yung first term muna tayo ha. 3y times 3y times 3/5 of y plus 5 raised to 5/3. Tapos, yung second term, subtract the second term, minus 3. Ano yung second term? Eto, di ba? 9 over 40 times y plus 5 raised to 8/3 plus c. Simplify. You have now 9y over 5 times y plus 5 raised to 5/3 minus 27 over 40 times y plus 5 raised to 8/3 and your integration constant. Huwag niyong i-multiply si 3 sa integration constant ha. That is simply c. Do not distribute this one to your integration. So, papapansin natin, parehas ba yung lumabas? The answer? Parehas, di ba? So, anong mas maganda? Yung first method or yung second method? What is more convenient for you? Yung first or yung second? Ngayon, sasagutin ko yan. It depends. What if your term u or function u will not end up equal to 0? So, continuous mo na lang siya i-differentiate para lang mapalabas yung 0. E paano kung exponential yan? E paano kung logarithmic yan? E paano kung tawag na dito, multinomial terms raised to 6 to the power of 6? Anong petsa ka na matatapos? Diba? Pero alternate yon, plus minus plus. Kung ganito lang ang problem mo, two or three column, two or three rows lang yung integration and differentiation process mo, okay pa. Pero kung medyo mahaba na, as much as possible, use this one. Then use transformation, your power formula, your inverse trigonometric rule, and so forth and so long. Much as possible yung maikli lang. Pero kung medyo mahaba na yung problem, gamitin nyo yung long method. Pero kung ganito lang yung problem, it's much more convenient to use this particular method, yung tabulated. Okay? Question po, bago ko burahin.
Sir, paano kung yung U is, kunyari, 4 rows, sir? Yung i-multiply po is first term ng U, tapos
4 rows.
second
Okay
term
pa
ng
naman kung
DV.
4 rows. Basta nag-end siya sa 0. As long as the term end up at 0, kayang-kaya yan. Pero kung hindi siya nag-end sa 0, doon ka mawawala.
Okay po, sir.
Okay na? Mapurahin ko na. So for problem number 2, wait lang. So for problem number 2, what if you're now asked to evaluate the indefinite integral of y cosine for y dy? What if ganyan? As simple as this, as given in this problem, mapapansin mo na kung ano yung function u mo at inyong function tv. Diba? Alam mo na kung saan function or term ang pwedeng mag-end sa 0. So, consider u. Anong gagamitin nating u? Gagamitin nating u. Uy, agsao kayo, apo.
Why, sir?
Y. So, kung ginamit natin si y, differential of function u is simply dy. Then, differentiate it again, that is simply equal to 0. Then, our dv is simply equal to cosine 4y dy. The differential, integral of cosine 4y dy, ano yan? That is now, what? This is your 4y. Differential is 4 dy. Correcting factor, 1/4 du. One-fourth du. So correcting factor, 1/4. Then integral of cosine is basically what? Positive sine. Sine for y. So ngayon, alam na natin yung apat na terms. U, du, dv, tsaka v. Let's use our general formula, which is now the product of function u times v minus the integral of function v du. The function u is y. V was identified as 1/4 sine for y minus the integral of v. Maya na natin ilabas yung constant, ha? Integral of v, 1/4 sine for y du, which is dy. Okay? So with that, simplify yung ating first term, which is y over 4 sine for y. Tama? Plus, labas natin si minus muna. Minus 1/4 of the integral of sine for y dy. Okay? Again, meron kang correcting factor. Integral of sine is simply negative cosine. So, that is y over 4 sine for y minus 1/4 times 1/4 times negative cosine for y. For y. Simplify, you have y over 4 sine for y minus a plus 1 over 16 cosine for y plus your integration constant. So, yan na ngayon yung ating final answer. How about if we try it using our tabulation method? You're now u and your dv. Remember, our u was identified to be y. First, the differential form of y is 1, plus is 0. Our dv was identified to be cosine for y dy. Integral of cosine for y is positive 1/4 sine for y. And integral of 1/4 sine for y is simply negative 1/16 cosine for y. Are we going to end it here? Yan na ba tayo matatapos? Yes, nandun na tayo sa 0 ng function u. So with that, positive and multiply. Then subtract it here and multiply. Lang yan. Okay? So that is now y times 1/4 sine for y minus negative 1/16 cosine for y plus c. Simplify further. That is y over 4 sine for y plus 1/16 of cosine for y. And lastly, your integration. Parehas ba? Yes, parehas na sila. Diba? Again, this method is again much easier if your function u will eventually end up 0 by continuous differentiation. Pero pag hindi, gamitin yung long method. Kasi malay nyo, kailangan nyo pa mag-transform, mag-expand, or mag-change ng identities and so forth. And then apply your knowledge from power formula up to inverse trigonometry. Question po.
Answer.
Now, for example number 3. What if you're now asked to evaluate the indefinite integral of x squared sine x dx. That is now integral of x squared times sine x dx. Alam mo na kung saan ang function u at function dv. So again, para mapabilis na natin yung ating lecture today, doon na tayo sa tabulated kasi alam mo kung saan na yung pwedeng mag-zero na term eh. U and your dv. Ano yung u natin? That is x squared. dv is sine x. Differential of x squared is 2x, then 2, then 0. We need 2x, then 2, and lastly, 0. Huh? Huh? Integral of sine x. Negative cosine x. Integral of negative cosine x is negative positive. So negative sine x. Then integral of negative sine x is negative times negative cosine x is simply positive cosine. Ito na ngayon yung sinasabi mo kanina. 4 rows. Row 1 to row 2. Positive, multiply. Row 2 to row 3. Subtract from the first term, then multiply. Row 3 to row 4. Positive, and multiply. Ganun lang yan. So, simplify na natin. That is x squared times negative cosine x minus 2x times negative sine x plus 2 cosine. That is now negative x squared cosine x plus 2x sine x plus 2 cosine x plus your integration. O, diba? Ang ikli. Kung nilong method mo yan, di isang page din yan. Okay? Next one. Example number 4. What if you're now asked to evaluate the indefinite integral of x times x plus 1 raised to 1 half? Pero minsan, ibibigay yan na problem as x times the square root of x plus 1. Yan na yung transform. So with that, alam mo na kung ano ang function u at function tv, right? Using again our tabulation method, u and dv. U is your x, then 1, then 0. Integration function, x plus 1 raised to 1 half. Differentiate the term within the parenthesis first to check if we can apply power formula. Differential of x plus 1 is simply dx. So we could simply use power formula with this one. 1 half plus 1 is basically 3 halves. Or that is now 2/3 of x plus 1 raised to 3 halves. Then again, integral of 2/3 times x plus 1 raised to 3 halves. 3 halves plus 1 is simply what? 5 halves. 5 halves all over 5 halves simply equal to 4 over 15 of x plus 1 raised to 5 halves in your integration. First row to second row, positive and multiply. Second row to the last row, minus and multiply. Okay? Combine all terms. X times 2/3 of x plus 1 raised to 2/3 minus 1 times 4 over 15 of x plus 1 raised to 5 halves plus c. Simplify. That is now 2x over 3 times x plus 1 raised to 2 thirds minus 4 over 15 times x plus 1 raised to 5 halves plus c. So, eto na ngayon yung ating final answer for this problem. Question.
Sir, bakit po ulit chinek nyo yung bakit po ulit chinek nyo kung madederive pa yung nasa loob ng parenthesis before proceeding with the power formula, sir?
Baka kasi meron siyang kailangang term. Mahirap na kung di tayo makakapag-introduce ng correcting factor.
Okay po, sir.
Oo,
Thank
diba
you.
wala siyang common terms. Diba naalala yung power formula? Pag walang common terms doon sa parenthesis, outside the parenthesis, kailangan nating i-expand. Pag meron, apply power formula. Pag wala, expand mo, then power formula. Wait lang ah. Now for problem number 6, what if you're now given for 6, evaluate the indefinite integral evaluate the indefinite integral of x times e raised to 3x dx. Diba makikita man kung anong susunod na gagawin natin dyan. Ano, that is your u and dv. Ano ang ating function u? That is x. Function dv is e raised to 3x. Differential of x is 1 and 0. Integral of e raised to 3x. That is 1/3 e raised to 3x. Integral of 1/3 times e raised to 3x. That is now what? 1/3 times 1/3, 1/9 of e raised to first term, first row times second row plus minus second row times the last row. Again, we end up at 0. Simplify or combine all terms. X times 1/3 of e raised to 3x minus 1 times 1/9 of e raised to 3x plus c. That is now x over 3 times e raised to 3x minus 1/9 or e raised to 3x over 9 plus c. Yan lang naman yung ating final answer for this problem. So for this topics exercise problems, try to solve on your own or practice on these problems. Ito challenge ha, practice nyo lang. Practice this given problems. Number 7, integrate or evaluate the indefinite integral of x times x plus 5 raised to 8 dx. 8 integral of x squared times x minus 3 raised to 1/2 dx. Number 9, integral of x cubed times x squared minus 3 raised to 1/2 dx. Number 10, integral of 5y minus 1 ln y dy. And lastly, number 11, integral of sine 2x times sine 3x. Yan. Ngayon, paano kung parehong term or trigonometric function pero magkaiba sila ng suffix? 2x tapos 3x. Hindi mo pwedeng direct integrate yan or mag-transform. Diba? So with that, let's try to solve that problem. Let's try to solve this problem using our tabulated form or tabulation method. Untitled. Gamitin nating U. Either way, hindi naman natin alam sa dalawang yan kung saan pwede siyang mag-end up 0. Gamitin nating U is sine 2x. dV is sine 3x. Okay? The differential of sine 2x is what? Anong differential ni sine 2x? Can anybody tell me?
Negative 2 cosine 2x, sir.
Negative? Sure ka dyan? Baka integral yan.
Sine. Ay, positive, sir.
Differential of sine 2x.
Nalinis pa rin ito, di ba?
Differential of sine 2x is definitely 2 cosine 2x. Differential of 2 cosine 2x is negative 4 sine 2x. Differential of negative, hindi, paulit-ulit na. So never mind. Let's end there. Kada na mahaba. Integral of sine 3x. Integral of sine 3x is negative 1/3 cosine 3x. Integral of negative 1/3 cosine 3x, that is positive sine 3x times correcting factor 1/3 times 1/3 times negative 1 is negative 1/9 of sine 3. Notice, either way, function u will not end up equal to 0. Same goes with v. Or same goes with your function dv. So, dyan tayo nag-end. Pero, try pa rin nating isolve from which we've ended. So, first term, second term, positive, multiply. Second row to the last row, positive, negative, then multiply. And multiply. Ngayon, gagawa tayo ng magic dito. Equal from sine 2x of cosine 3x, we came up using this integration by parts from negative 1/3 of cosine 3x times sine 2x minus, that is 2 cosine 2x times negative 1/9 is simply positive, this time positive 2/9 cosine 2x sine sine 3x. Remember, in the table, we did not end up at 0. Given that we did not end up to 0, we should still continue integrating and differentiating the last terms. So with that, we need to multiply the integral of the third term or the third row, integrated form to the third row, and multiply it to this side. Then add from the previous term. So, plus now, kasi nga hindi pa tayo tapos dun sa table eh. Hindi siya nag-end sa 0. So, dapat we need to continually integrate pa rin. So, plus now, the integral of negative 1/9 sine 3x times negative 4 sine 2x. Ano yan? That is positive 4/9 of what? Sine 2x and sine. Ilabas ko na yung constant para sanan. 4/9 of sine 2x and sine 3x. Ayun, anong next step natin with this problem? So next step, hello. Apply your CE 1111. Basic math. Meron tayong common terms. Pero yung isa walang constant. Anong gagawin? Multiply both side of what? 9 over. Multiply both side with 9 over 4. Wait lang. Mali pala. Hindi muna dyan. Meron tayong both integral terms. So that is simply 1 sine 2x cosine 3. Sine 2x. That is sine cosine. That is sine 2x sine 2x. Ay, mali yung nakopya ko dun sa isa. Dapat ito yung sine, di ba? Ano sinasabi? Dapat sine, main problem natin was sine 3x. Sine 2x, sine 3x. Ano? So with that, that is also the same as 1 integral of sine 2x times sine 3x. Diba? Lipat natin yung nasa dulong term. Minus 4/9 of sine 2x and sine 3x dx equal to negative 1/3 of cosine 3x and sine 2x plus 2/9 of cosine 2x and sine 3x. Ngayon, simplify mo yun. 1 minus 4/9. That is what? 1 minus 4/9. Ano yung 1 minus 4/9? That is 5 over 9 integral of sine 2x on sine 3x dx equal to negative 1/3 of cosine 3x and sine, wala na naman yun, 2x plus 2/9 of cosine 2x times sine 3x. Ngayon, para bumalik tayo sa original problem, anong gagawin? Multiply both sides with 9 over 5. Cancel na yan. So simply, the original problem is sine 2x and sine 3x dx is equal now 9/5 times negative 1/3 is negative 9 over 15. Simplify negative 9 over 15, that is negative 3 over 5 cosine 3x of sine 2x plus 9/5 times 2/9, that is 18 over 45. Tama ba? 9 times 2 divided 9 to 18 over 9 times 5. Simply, that is 2/5 cosine cosine 2x 2x times sine 3x. And your integration. Did we solve the problem? Yes. Question is the definite integral of sine 2x times sine 3x dx, which is equal now to negative 3/5 of cosine 3x sine 2x plus 2/5 of cosine 2x times sine 3x. Solve natin. Solve natin, di ba? Ganun lang, magic. Paglaruan nyo lang yung problem. Naririnig po ba? Hello?
Yes, sir.
My question. My question? Hello? Do you have
None,
any
sir.
question? Naintindihan ng problem na to? Ba, magic. Solve pa rin naman natin. Tama pa rin yung mga ginawa nating method. Simply applying your knowledge with algebra, with your differential calculus, then ganun na, dire-diretso na lang. At least we still use the tabulated method. And expand mo na lang. E paano kung long method yan? Di mo na gets yung tabulated method. Tsaka na matatapos dyan. Okay? Okay. Question po.